Hey YouTube, it's Gabe, and very cool, and a point of nostalgia, I am wearing the shirt that I was wearing in my first YouTube video ever. I haven't worn the shirt in a very long time, because it hasn't really fit me right since I started testosterone, or even pre-testosterone it didn't, but that's one of the things I wanted to talk about. Basically, what I've been thinking about lately, because there have been changes to report, but I'm just tired of kind of like talking about my changes like, oh yeah, more hair, which is true, but not that exciting. Well, exciting, not exciting for you to necessarily hear that from me. But one thing that's been changing quite drastically lately is I'm noticing it in moments where I touch myself. So I like, you know, touch my own shoulder or cross my arms or whatever, come into contact with like my side or part of my body that I don't touch a lot. And it feels in that moment like the angle that I'm used to feeling there has suddenly and drastically shifted, or become harder, or it's a really interesting sort of phenomenon in that it's just like, is that my shoulder? No way, you know? And that did happen a little bit. It has been happening sort of gradually, but lately I feel like my body is like the body fat distribution thing is changing in such a huge way. And that's something that I expected, I think, to notice in the mirror, but to actually, like, realize that I had a memory of the feel of my own shoulder and that that has changed in however long it's been since I last touched my shoulder, is an interesting... It's an interesting change, like rediscovering the feel of my body. And with that, my skin is becoming thicker, not necessarily emotionally, unfortunately, as I'm a big sap, but definitely it's harder to give myself my shot, and skin on my face is tougher. I can just feel it, you know, it's thicker. So that's kind of cool. And yeah, I've been thinking a lot as well about emotional changes on testosterone, and you know, I've kind of officially lost touch with the emotional landscape that I had pre-T, which is not the frightening or sad experience that I thought it would be. I thought it would be something very steeped in a sense of loss, because I felt like, from what I'd heard, is that I lose tons of emotions. Like, there's happy, and there's sad, or there's happy and there's angry, and there's neutral middle ground, and that pre-T, I would have had, like, all of these nuanced little emotions, like, filling in this spectrum that I could easily identify, and that I felt quite readily, and I felt like pre-T, or after I started, that things would be simplified to the point where there was just, like, happy, neutral, and, like, sad, or happy, neutral, angry. And that isn't what I found. I found that I have certain emotions that are more insistent, like anger is a more insistent emotion than it was before. It's still something that I can negotiate quite readily, because I've always been very in touch with my feelings and that sort of thing. So there's certain emotions that take the forefront more than others, and I at times do struggle to trace the complexities of my emotions back to a source and to make sense with them and that sort of thing. But it's not a bad change. I don't feel a sense of loss, you know? I feel like I still feel things very intensely. I still, when I put my mind to it, can figure out kind of like what's going on with me emotionally, and I'm very thankful for that, and that's always been important to me. People told me I wouldn't be able to cry anymore, and I can totally still cry. Which is something that I say a lot, but I mean, with the crying, like, I watched this one really heart-wrenching documentary about dogs separated from their owners during the New Orleans hurricane. Oh man, as a dog owner, that was really, really intense. So I watched that, and just about 10 minutes in, I started crying, and it was more like I could feel it just welling up in me, and it was like I was sobbing. But I mean, one or two tears actually fell. So when they say you can't cry, it means like your face is getting less wet, you know, but I still consider that like weeping openly, because it is that emotion, and because there is still a sense of satisfaction in letting it out. It's not like I have tears like kind of caught in my throat, but I can't express them, which I think is an experience I've heard related to me, a frustrating experience that some other trans guys have related to me. So I don't have that generally, and I'm thankful for it. I feel like I've been keeping up to date with teaching myself to cry and to give that an outlet as I've been going. So that's really cool. Other emotional changes, the other big one is my sex drive, if that can be said to be an emotional change. I don't really know that I like that change very much. It's, I don't know, I can't tell lately because I'm new to singledom, which is boring. I am such a good boyfriend, and I'm just like going to waste here being single. Which I mean kind of facetiously, because I've got this sort of like personal project to become more comfortable with being single, and to get to know myself a little bit better when the only person that I have to answer to is myself. So yeah, I'd like to be happy being single before I get into another relationship, put it that way. But it's new, so part of me's still like, oh god, I just want to be in a relationship. Any relationship, just throw somebody at me. So I'll get over that. But yeah, I can't tell if it's sexual frustration that my sex drive is peaking at, that I'm sexually frustrated, because I think that I might be. I mean, I've been having less frequent sex, than I have at I don't know, the past couple of years, over the past month or so. Or it could also be the fact that I'm on a lower dose of testosterone, like 50 milligrams every 10 days, which I'm hoping to increase very soon. And that maybe it's just been more gradual for me to reach a sort of like sex drive peak than it was for other guys who started out on higher doses or who increased their doses much quicker than me. But yeah, the sex drive thing, I mean, I don't even really think about sex that much more. I just kind of get turned on, you know, and I'm like, oh, okay, I feel a need to get off pretty soon. I should probably look into doing that. And I've been watching a lot more porn, too, in those times. Like, I was never that visual before. I think I am slightly more visual now when it comes to that sort of stuff, but only slightly. I think I'm just watching more porn, maybe because I don't know, spontaneously aroused more, and porn's kind of around. But I don't know. It's been really hard adjusting to that, and I don't know. And also, I've been going through a lot of like questioning my sexual orientation, not in a serious like questioning what the hell kind of way, but wondering who I'm going to be looking for in a future sexual or romantic partner, because I don't really know, and this is one of the first times in my life where I haven't had like a crush around. I mean, there's just no one, and I almost can't imagine who I'm going to pursue in the future, if that makes sense. I don't know if it's going to be a guy or a girl, or you know, probably it'll generally be a queer person, because I find queer sexuality and queer politics very, very sexy, and I'm so situated in them, in my own sexual identity, that I think I'd find it very hard to sleep with someone who is not queer identified, or at least someone who's just like sort of a heterosexual person, you know, that sort of thing. I think I wouldn't know where to begin with that. But as far as the kinds of bodies I'm attracted to, I mean, who knows? Like, I watch mainly gay porn when I watch porn. I've talked about this before. But I'm still kind of trying to figure out if I want to have those bodies, or if I want to be with those bodies. It can be very hard for me to kind of figure out my dysphoria and that sort of thing, and put it in its own category, aside from... because it does... I mean, dysphoria can really inform a lot of aspects of your life. Sex not being the least of which. So I've been doing some work kind of trying to figure that out, and yeah, I don't know, I'm like, could I ever have a boyfriend? Is that possible? You know, can I fall in love with a guy? I don't know. And you know, as much as like I've been sort of agonizing over, you know, breakups and singledom and that sort of thing, and sexual frustration, as I've just come out of a sort of week-long depressive episode where I like didn't leave my bed, and I'm on the mending side of that, and I'm starting to kind of feel good again and feel optimistic and feel like sexual exploration or exploring your identity or who you're attracted to is certainly a very exciting thing. And I'm looking forward to getting to know people that are different people than I've known for the past 2 years. I haven't met a whole lot of new people, and specifically with romantic or sexual partners. You know, I haven't had like a brand new lover in quite some time. So it's interesting. I'm looking forward to exploring that, specifically with my ventures to Toronto over the next little while. And Pride's coming up. You never know. Not that I'm a big advocate of Toronto Pride, but yeah. There are some cool things happening in and around that time, like the Trans March, which is so exciting, and I hope to meet a whole bunch of people from YouTube there. Anyways, I'm getting a little bit disjointed now. But yeah, those are some of the things I've been thinking about, and I'm looking forward to exploring them more and checking back in with you guys and letting you know how that goes. I think that reassessing your sexual identity, your gender identity, which has changed a lot for me too. I should make a separate video about that. But that's part of, you know, a physical transition too, and I'd like to be very transparent about those things as they change. So, yes. I hope you guys are doing well. And yeah, I'll check back in with you very soon. Awesome. Take care.